What does death mean in Mirandus?
I don't know yet, man.
What is up, my Metaverse family? Welcome back to On-Chain Gaming. My name is Jake, the On-Chain Gamer, and today we need to talk about dying in Mirandus. And if that sounds really confusing to you, then it's because you don't know that Mirandus is an upcoming blockchain-enabled, massive multiplayer online role-playing game. And the fact that it's going to exist on the blockchain means that it's going to have a real economy. And to learn more about that, you can watch a ton of my other videos. And this game is being developed by Gala Games and specifically Michael McCarthy. And Michael McCarthy recently had a video released on the Gala Games YouTube channel, and he was being interviewed by Jason Brink. And in this interview, they were talking about what death might be like in the world of Mirandus, because Michael McCarthy has a vision, a dream. He wants to make Mirandus as much of a simulation of the real world as it can possibly be. And he's been dealing with death because he doesn't want death to just be this impactless thing where you can just spawn and die and spawn and die. And you know, it doesn't really matter, at which point the game is not really scary because you can go out and die and there's not really any consequences. So we're gonna be diving into this in this video. If that sounds good to you, remember to leave a big thumbs up as that will help out this video a ton in the YouTube algorithm, and I really appreciate it. That will cause the video to get recommended to more people. And then if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Make sure you hit subscribe and click the notification bell so that you never miss future videos that we're posting on this channel about the future of gaming, blockchain gaming, play to earn crypto gaming. So I'm gonna let you guys next listen to a little bit of the interview that I'm talking about in this video, and then after you've listened to that interview, then we're gonna get back and I want to share some of my thoughts about how I think death should be in Mirandus.
On-Chain Gaming.
So let's talk a little bit about death then. What does death mean in Mirandus?
I don't know yet, man. We have to make it really meaningful. I don't know what that means yet, but we want to make it that if someone has survived something, they are incredible. If someone has challenged one of the beasts and lived to talk about it, that's a big deal.
Agreed.
I mean, we can't erase your character or anything.
Right.
That'd be too much, you know? We can't take anything away from you because it exists in your wallet. So there's no loss of gear. I mean, it's something big to consider.
Right.
The big thing that I heard when Michael McCarthy was talking about dying is he's like, because items exist on the blockchain, we can't take them away when you die, because if we were to take them away when you died, then it would be like real financial loss. And he's just saying that that's not really something that he feels like can be integrated into the game. And that makes sense to me, but I do have an idea where even that could be put on the line in Mirandus, but only in certain cases when the player enters a smart contract with the game that puts their items on the line, maybe in like the most ancient of dungeons, like the highest tier, even above legendary. Like maybe there could be parts of the world where you have to even put your items up for grabs. But in the rest of the world, I agree with Michael McCarthy that it's going to be really hard for you to lose your NFT items, and that will just make the game like way too incredibly risky. Like if you could lose like what's equivalent to the down payment on a house just for dying, like that is a super severe punishment.
You can do a sickness, you know, you can do you're super underpowered for some period of time. We could have you go into a dark sleep and your screen turns black. I feel like everyone's down to go for it and have it be meaningful, so people aren't just charging into the old dungeon to grind out a few this and that.
Right.
It's like we want to make it a big deal. I mean, I think experience loss is a big deal.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because that's kind of like nice pushback in the system, you know. It lets you play too. It lets you jump right back in and keep playing. But
right.
dying over and over again would be really bad.
I really like his idea of causing you to lose experience when you die, because even though you wouldn't lose your weapon, if you have a majestic weapon and you lose some experience, then you might not be able to use your majestic weapon. So it penalizes you in a very fair way, where you have to then level up again to become worthy, to have the skill level necessary in order to use that majestic weapon again.
Thresholds, like every X levels, that, you can only fall back. If you fall back in experience, you could maybe fall back a level. If you fall back, but every 5 levels, if you hit that particular milestone, that's as far as you can fall back. Something, I don't know. We'll have to talk with the community about that.
He is kind of like proposing this really weak version of getting hurt when you lose levels. And I have an idea that I think would be really, really good for Mirandus, because if you can only lose like 5 levels, for example, like I don't think that is enough of a punishment, and people are gonna take advantage of that like to the max. Like people are gonna level up to a point, lose their 5 levels, and then just take advantage of the fact that they cannot lose levels anymore, and that is going to be really unhealthy for the game. So I feel like every time you die, you should lose level equivalent to the level that you're at.
Community watching this, what do you guys think? What do you want?
How think community?
How would you guys handle this? What does video game death mean to you?
How can we make? I mean, the challenge is, how can we make it that if you see a truly high level player in the game, that you're impressed? Not just there's a high level player. It's like, holy crap, how do you do it? Where have you been? What did you, oh my God. Where did you get that?
I am proposing that Mirandus should implement a scaling percentage loss based on the level that you're at. So if it's really, really early and like you're only level 2 or something and you die, like you shouldn't really be punished that much for it, because you're just learning how the game works. And it would be unfair if somebody could just kill you, take advantage of your low level, and you'll be set back a ton. So maybe at the very beginning, like you only lose 1% of your level of your XP when you die. And that way it makes it easy to get past some of those early levels. But as you level up, as you get to higher tiers, the percentage of experience that you lose, I think, should go up. So if you're a max level in Mirandus, I think you should have a very severe punishment for dying. You know how the games work. You know how the rules of the world are set up. You understand when you're taking risk, when you're not taking risk. And if you die, I think that it would be fine if someone who is max level maybe loses 35 or 50%, dare I say, of their experience, and they probably can't use any of what they had equipped beforehand. Now, I know that like losing 50% of your experience sounds really, really terrible. And you might be saying like, why would you want it to be so severe? Like imagine that's hundreds of hours that you lose for death. Well, if this game is trying to be a simulation of the real world, like what is death in real world? What does it mean? I wrote down here that the only way to make death scary is to make death scary. If death is not scary in Mirandus, people are not going to be scared of dying in Mirandus. And it doesn't matter, Michael McCarthy, like what your light level is set at. If death isn't scary, death's not going to be scary. And I think that having very severe death punishments in Mirandus, especially at high levels, is very healthy for the game. And I think, though, that there should be an exception made if you want to enter into player versus player, like arena combat, for example. Like maybe in the arena, it's just like you win once everyone's unconscious and everyone exits the arena with 1 HP. Or something like that. And the arena could even have like smart contracts where you could even wager some of the items being used in the duel. And I think the idea of wagering NFTs should not be taken off the table completely. It kind of sounded like that was taken off completely when you're thinking about death. I think it's really important to note as well that any death that isn't a total reset to level 1, to like pretty much starting over as far as your character's experience goes, Anything that's not that is a compromise if we truly want a simulation of real life. Anything that happens in Mirandus that isn't a complete and entire reset of your character's experience, because your character died. Like, he doesn't exist anymore. Anything that's not resetting to level 1 is a compromise. So I would even totally be fine if every time you died in Mirandus, it reset you to level 1. Now, the reason that you wouldn't realistically do that in a video game is because it's not a perfect reality, and a perfect simulation might not even be like a fun game to play, but also because it's not a perfect reality, people run into connection issues, like you lag out and then you die. Like, imagine you get reset all the way to level 1 because of that. Like, those sort of things will be a little bit frustrating, and they still will happen if you only lose half of your experience. For example, like, someone will die unjustly. I'm sure that it's gonna happen in the world of Mirandus. And that kind of sucks, but because you're only losing experience, everything you're losing you can earn back by playing. I know that's easy to say, and I might hate myself when I'm leveling back up later on after I have died. Like, I'll say, man, you were so stupid for suggesting that, and maybe all you guys will hate me as well, but at least there will be a real fear of dying and a real sense of realism, and I care more about that and actually caring about the things that I do in Mirandus than I care about the game being for pansies that don't have the ability to work hard and survive. So maybe that's a little too harsh. I just think that death should have consequences, and I think that we should keep it in mind that a true simulation would reset us back to level 1. That's kind of what I think. I think that I agree. I want this to be a hardcore game, and I know that that makes it unfriendly to new players, which is why I think this percentage scaling of the XP that you lose is a way to compromise. So if you're early on and you only lose 1% of your experience, like, it's not as punishing for you as someone who's a level 100 and loses up to 50% of their experience, maybe even, I don't know, more. I mean, you don't want to punish like unfairly, but I think you should lose more experience the higher level that you are in the game, because that will make it feel more important to truly be high level and to stay alive at that level. And the people who are into the game the most, it will be the most hardcore for them. I think that's a really great way to compromise for new players and for people who truly want this to act like a simulation. So before I end this video, I want to just throw out the idea. This is just a separate idea, but I think that there should be ancient enemies. If the rarity scale is gray, then green, then blue, then purple, then gold, then ancient, like, what if there were ancient level zones in Mirandus where if you enter them, like, there's a ton of incredible loot that you might be able to find, like epic drops, but to enter this zone, even to like load into this zone, you have to sign and agree to wager your NFTs. So this would be like a super high risk zone that exists in Mirandus, and obviously most players wouldn't even need to have to mess with it. But if you're talking about creatures that like might never die, I feel like they would exist like so perfectly and so scarily, just so incredibly in a world where you could even lose your majestic weapons in that world. And just think about like the rewards that would be paid out to people that are mapping these areas where they could lose their NFTs. Like, I don't know. I think the more real that this game can become, the better it is. And I understand that it needs to be friendly to new players, and new players need to be able to hop in this world and have some training wheels maybe for a little bit. And I think there can be areas and like inside a deed, it's completely safe. Like, I think that's awesome. And we should try to help out new players, but this game, in the end, it should have the best in-game possible, the most realistic feeling in-game possible, so that people who really want to get immersed into the world of Mirandus can truly like feel the sweat running down their forehead. And I think that's the game that Mirandus should be, and it will just mesh so nicely with the actual economy. And because there are safe zones in Mirandus, because you can exist inside a deed, I think that it's going to be very possible for you to stay alive if you really, really care about it, and level up your forging ability and your crafting ability and that kind of thing for players that aren't as interested in the combat. So yep, those are my thoughts on how I think death should work in Mirandus. Michael McCarthy, go with your gut. I mean, that's my feeling. Don't ponder just to the newest players, just to the ease of access. I think that my idea can both allow like ease of learning early on, but also make the game extremely extreme later on. And yeah, I hope that you listen to these ideas. If you guys enjoyed this video and agree with these ideas, then make sure to leave a big thumbs up so that Michael McCarthy and Gala Games can know that this idea is something that you guys stand behind as well. And if you're not subscribed yet, guys, you just listened to this whole video, make sure you hit subscribe. Obviously you enjoyed it somewhat, and click that notification bell and you'll be notified when I post new crypto gaming content. So yeah, thanks to our epic patrons who are supporting us and allowing us to make this content. If you want to learn about becoming a patron, you can check the information out in the link below. And then also below, you can find the link and more information about being a node owner for Mirandus. I'm a node owner. My brother who edits these videos for this channel is a node owner. And then Josh, who does all the sound design and music for these videos, he owns a node as well. And we really love it. It's a decentralized network that Mirandus is going to run on, and you get paid out passive income, well, passive crypto, which is income, for owning and operating your node. And if you use our node, then we'll get 10% of whatever your node earns on a daily basis. So it's an incredible way to support our channel, and you can learn a ton more about nodes with some of the other videos that I've uploaded on the channel. I've talked about nodes a ton, how they work, why they work, what the whole goal is behind it, and what I think the return on investment will be for the nodes that I own. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, don't die in Mirandus and have fun roaming the metaverse.